There's a lot of beautiful things to enjoy in life when we have some money, when we have a little bit of freedom, or at least the intention of exploration. I think to myself when I'm in a place like this, without the humility to take it back, basically to not abuse the experience, this isn't worth nearly as much. Nesire in Portugal. Absolutely glorious place. Haven't seen the waves in a long time, mainly because I live in Ohio. I've been observing these little businesses, been observing the things that they present to their people and how they work. Little shacks, coffee shops, what have you. And I've noticed that there's a drastic change in the culture of beach towns as opposed to perhaps cities. Cities are a lot faster moving. There's a lot more tension, a lot more anxiety. In a lot of these smaller towns, a lot of these beach towns in particular, people seem to have a lot more involvement, I guess, with their careers. It's a part of their lifestyle. In America in particular, the customer service that you'll receive at a larger, nicer restaurant is always going to be, on average, superior to the service that you'll get probably abroad, mainly because people don't really value that amount of, I guess, closeness to their customer, that amount of dedication to making sure that they are happy and that they spread the word. In general, in Europe, what I've observed is that there is a greater propensity to kind of have a face value approach. Kind of a, listen, if you want something, you take it, but don't give me shit for it. And it happens because I believe the culture is a lot slower in a lot of ways, especially in the small towns. So if that's something that you're looking for in life, if it's something that you want to explore, that kind of slower lifestyle, consider moving to one of these places. Consider establishing a life there, being of service to the locals, living off of less, sure, but perhaps enjoying a slower life. Regardless, marketing and communication are key in terms of establishing oneself. And that's a global phenomenon when it comes to human beings. Probably a lot of other species as well, is recognizing that really what we want is someone that cares and does what they say they're going to do. What a drastic thing to expect of humans these days, huh? Someone says something and they actually do it. The other thing I've observed is anything that we haven't earned in life, we're going to take for granted. And I think it's a natural process to get kind of sidetracked by perhaps those things that were given to us, the cards that we were dealt. How have I so far approached those cards that I've been dealt? Well, like every single one of us that's been given things without earning them, I've ran with it because I have to. And every now and then I have a situation or a circumstance that I can say, hey Tarab, that thing that you have, most other people don't have it. So what will you do with it? How will you utilize that energy and that potential? I say keep growing. If you're in a town like this, if you're in a small town somewhere in Europe or in the States, in a coastal town where it's a little slower, then you're making a little extra change on the side, or you got a little extra love in terms of the people around you or family. Use that. Help those that don't have those things. Obviously, having your own is very important. Having that stability, that foundation, makes it possible to be of use. However, I think we get the most satisfaction out of offering it back into our environment. We have ecosystems everywhere. Many of the ones that we focus on are human-based, essentially commerce. So then becomes a concept of, do you do it all alone? Do you pursue this life in isolation in order to be safer? Well, the wise say that the greatest risk is to stay the same. That the greatest folly of leaders is to not know how to raise those that follow them. So I've spent some time in life so far being the leader of a company or two, of some organizations, non-profit, whatever it is. And what I've come to realize is, as long as you have measurable markers for both yourself and those that you lead, communication is a lot easier. And in general, the propensity to get upset is decreased drastically. Numbers have a way of doing that. And so, if you're ready to hire, or if you're ready to get a partner, I wouldn't recommend getting partners really, because a lot of the time, look at this little shoe here. A lot of the time, we assume that our partners are going to be our friends. You can't do business like that. But if you are going to hire employees, and you're going to create a culture of beauty in your life, all around, at home and in the business, then development and change are kind of a necessary part of that. We have to have a system for making sure that the people that are around us know the trajectory that can be achieved. Basically, stagnation in work tends to be less appetizing than forward progress. So what I've tried to do for my employees, which I believe is working, and hopefully will persist, is give them those paths, those things that I need to get done to expand my business, my personal life. I will train them in those matters if they have the intelligence and the social skills to make it happen. The beautiful part about this is that training someone, establishing that forward momentum, actually gains trust. And progress, my friend, moves at the speed of trust. As with families, as with companies, as with everything useful in life, progress moves at the speed of trust. So that conscious investment in our staff and in our family and the people that we love, giving them a trajectory that perhaps might be exciting to them, it shows that we care. And what better thing to show that we are trustworthy than to care, to put up that upfront investment of time, energy, resources. I have a belief that it comes back to us. Perhaps I'm young and naive, almost certainly is the case, but I believe that will last forever. Hopefully you found some of these words inspiring in this scene of Nesire, Lisbon, something that motivates you to become that leader in your life. Actualize your potential, catalyst. This world needs you. Take care of yourself. I'll see you on the flip.